someday it will lead me back to you. No, that someday it will lead me back to you.
Welcome to Stage, Screen, and In Between with Helen. I'm Helen Proimos, and tonight I am at the heart of the Hamptons Sand and Style Soiree. Stay with us. Right now I'm with Thorsen, and she is the director of the Go Red for Women campaign. This is such a fabulous event, Ann.
It's amazing. What an incredible day here at the Hamptons Heart Ball. We're thrilled to see all these amazing people that come out to support the mission of the American Heart Association. Go Red for Women, the event that I do, started 21 years ago because the symptoms of heart attack in women are very different than men, and we're trying to fund gender-specific research to find out the reasons and the cures. The statistics are staggering. 1 in 3 women are impacted by cardiovascular disease. And every 80 seconds we lose a woman to cardiovascular disease. So thank you for joining us today here at the heart of the Hamptons Ball. It's an amazing event. I see all these men and women wearing red to support the important mission of the American Heart Association.
What's the best way to get the word out?
The best way to get the word out is go on to www.heart.org, or you can reach out to myself, Ann.Thorsen, at heart.org for any questions or if you'd like to be involved.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you. Have a great time.
I'm with Jean Shafiroff, and doesn't she look beautiful as always? And she has her red on tonight.
Well, thank you very much, and we're so happy to be here for the American Heart Association. And I have a long history with this group. First of all, I love the work they do. I think what they do is vitally important for people around the world. Heart health, teaching people how to take care of their hearts, and then CPR courses and so many other services. And a number of years ago, I was honored by this group at the Southampton Arts Center, and then I was also the chair of this gala for many years. So American Heart has a special place in my heart.
Yes, you have a deep connection with them. And the work is never done because it's so important that they communicate and keep getting the word out and keep letting people know, right?
1,000%. And as much as you think, well, you know about how to take care of your heart, well, we can always learn more, and it's so important to take care of your heart. Learn CPR so that if you're in a situation where someone needs help, you can give some help, and then to teach those around you how they should take care of their hearts.
Yes, and what about the importance for women?
Well, yes, because they say many, many women die of heart attacks. It's the number one leading cause of death in women, and it's terrible to hear this. So women, don't think that you'll never get a heart attack, because women, in fact, do get heart attacks. And so watch your cholesterol, watch your blood pressure, watch your diet, do everything you can to preserve your health.
Yeah, and it's not that they couldn't be saved, because they have so many wonderful avenues to restore you to good health. It's that women just don't know. We don't know the signs, and every woman is different. So everybody, please investigate a little bit. If you're not feeling well, go on the internet and see if it correlates with anybody else that has had a heart condition that's a woman.
Yes, so always remember, take care of yourself, take care of those around you, and learn all you can. The American Heart Association is available. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Right now I'm with the beautiful Elisa DiStefano, and she is the host tonight.
Yes, I'm very happy to be here. Anything that we can do as a community to support the American Heart Association, their mission, to raise awareness, to raise the essential funds that they need, I am all in for.
Yes, and everybody seems to have either a family story or a friend that's been affected. What about you?
I am a survivor of postpartum preeclampsia, which puts me at greater risk for heart disease, heart attack, and stroke for the rest of my life. So I am very grateful for my heart, and I take heart health seriously.
Yeah. Now, do you watch your diet?
I do. Yes, I do. I try. I try. I mean, I do pick off of my kids' plates and have the leftover chicken nuggets every so often, but
Well,
yeah.
you're busy with the family and everything like that. So, how do you like it in the Hamptons? This place is gorgeous, isn't it?
It is, and I always say, you know, when you think of the Hamptons, you think of luxury and beaches, and of course it's that, but there's so much heart in the Hamptons and so many people who give so much. And I know so many of these organizations depend on Hamptons fundraising.
Yes.
So it's a very generous community.
Yeah, and it's so important to get the information out there and to provide things like defibrillators on sports fields. I really am very fond of that idea. What about you? You have children.
I do, me too. One of my initiatives this year was to get certified in CPR and to get as many other parents certified.
Good idea.
And I feel really proud I was able to do that, and it's so important.
How long is a course like that?
Well, you could learn hands-only CPR, and that's only about 5, 10, 15 minutes. It's so easy to learn. Or you could get certified, and the course that I took was about 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah. And where can you take that? Some high schools offer that.
It's all over, and you could contact the American Heart Association, and they could tell you.
Tell you.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you, Elisa.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Oh, of course.
Tonight we're going to share stories about how the American Heart Association has helped our neighbors live longer, healthier lives, since heart disease is still the #1 killer in our community. Their work literally saves lives. So I am used to telling other people's stories, but tonight I'm happy to share one of my own. As someone who spent over 2 decades in news, I've had the privilege of meeting and interviewing and telling the stories of so many people all over Long Island and beyond. Part of my story, though, is that I am a survivor. 17 months ago, I was blessed to have my 3rd baby after a healthy, what some call geriatric pregnancy. I delivered a healthy baby boy and happily brought him home from the hospital. And when I got home, I had a severe headache and I had severe swelling, and I just knew that something wasn't right. This was more than just a C-section recovery. And so I told a friend who said, "Did you check your blood pressure?" And I said, "I have to go to CVS to check my blood pressure." Luckily, she had a blood pressure monitor and she brought it to my home, and I sent a photo to my doctor, and he said, "Get back to labor and delivery immediately." And so I was terrified, I was emotional to leave my newborn baby and my other 2 children who were so happy to have us home. And I was in a lot of pain, and I got back to the hospital, and a lot of it's a blur, but I remember the nurse looking at me and saying, "You got here just in time." So I am so grateful to be here with you tonight. It has special meaning to me. It's much easier sharing other people's stories, I'll tell you that.
I'm with Bong Arquiza, and he is the Director of Communications. Such a wonderful event, Bong.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for celebrating with us. Tonight is a wonderful night for all the accomplishments that we have made here on Long Island and across New York State and across the country in terms of our fight against heart disease and stroke.
Yes. So how hard was it to pull an event like this together?
It was equally hard and easy. It was hard because, you know, there were a lot of things to think about and to prepare, but it was also easy because a lot of people are inspired to help and to just, you know, pitch in to just make tonight possible.
Yeah, you have a wonderful turnout here.
Yes, I believe over 200 people showed up tonight in support of our fight against heart disease and stroke here on Long Island, here in the Hamptons.
Yeah. So the master of ceremonies is Elisa DiStefano.
Yes, that is correct. So Elisa DiStefano, an entertainment reporter, would be our MC for tonight, and we have a wonderful program that's ready for our guests tonight.
Yes, and you have somebody that's playing a keyboard and singing. He's fabulous.
We have live music that is for everyone to enjoy. The menu, the food menu is fabulous. So I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the evening.
And do you have a guest speaker too, or anybody with a story to tell?
So we have several people who are going to take the center stage. So we are featuring the chair of tonight's event, the chair of this year's campaign, Jennifer Damico, who is the Chief Accounting Officer and Controller of Pfizer. So she chaired this campaign. And we are also giving an Impact Award to Fern Mallis, the godmother of fashion, who is also the brains behind the Red Dress campaign.
Go Red for Women.
Yes, she is the inspiration behind the Go Red for Women campaign of the American Heart Association. So a lot of great stuff going on tonight.
It's really a thrilling night. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Helen.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course.
Right now I'm with Fern Mallis, who we can thank for New York Fashion Week and Go Red for Women. How did you come up with these fabulous ideas?
Well, getting Fashion Week organized is too long for this interview. You could Google it, but it was a long time ago, and it's very different now. It's not organized anymore. I did the tents in Bryant Park, and now it's everywhere.
Yes, I understand. I wasn't at the tents, but I understand that was the best part of New York Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about the American Heart Association and the big shindig tonight?
Well, it looks really festive and very red and colorful, and I'm very honored to be honored.
Yes, and you are being honored. Do you know anybody who has a heart condition?
I know lots of people who have heart problems, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very prevalent.
It is. And especially for women. So I love that we have the chance to get together. We have the Go Red for Women every year, right? And women can kind of commiserate and get information and tell their stories and help one another, right?
That's absolutely right. This is about awareness and teaching women what they can do to have better health and how to eat properly and exercise and know the signals and know when they feel something's happening, they might be having a heart attack, which most women don't think that.
I'm with Stephanie Mattera, who is a professor and a philanthropist, and she just came back from a fabulous trip in Cannes, and that'll get your heart going.
It will. It was a wonderful trip. I started out in Aix, France, and I then went to Paris, and then Cannes and Monaco, and so it was wonderful. And now I'm here in our version of the Riviera, right? The Hamptons, for a great cause. I love American Heart Association.
They do so much. They spend their whole year trying to inform people on heart health and also to take heed to any warning signs that they have that they might be having a heart attack.
It really means a lot to me because my mother almost passed away when I was 27 and she was 53, and she had gone to the doctors for 3 months complaining of flu-like symptoms, and her doctor kept dismissing those because the symptoms manifest differently in women than men.
Yes.
And luckily we were blessed that one of her best friends is a nurse and said those are signs of a cardiac issue and you need to go to a cardiologist. And she did, and about 4 days later she had an emergency stent procedure because she had a carotid artery that was 90% blocked.
Do that.
So this is a cause that's near and dear to my heart. I'm here for my mom, who's doing great. She's 71.
Yeah.
And so women, make sure that you listen to your bodies, and men too, because it can affect, anyone at any age. And a lot of it has to do with heredity. So knowing your family's history is so, so important.
Great. Thank you, Stephanie. Have
Thank
fun
you.
tonight.
I love seeing you. It's great. Thank you.
I'm with Kristen Alouisa, and she is in charge of Westchester County. And what else were you telling me?
Fairfield County for the American Heart Association.
Okay, so that's a big area to cover. So how do you manage to communicate with everybody?
We have an amazing team. We have our development directors. We have a big team of communications people. We have our upper leadership, and we have amazing volunteers. And it's incredible the amount of work that we're able to get done.
And what do you think about this event tonight?
I am blown away. This is like being in a fairy tale, just seeing so many people here supporting the American Heart Association and the mission. So grateful.
And everybody has a story to tell because either their life has been touched or someone in their family or a friend, or they want to get involved in some way and help, right?
Absolutely. I think we say in the Heart Association it's our why. Why are we doing this, and why do we want to support? And I know I have my own why, and I love this mission, and I'm going to do it every single day.
What is your why?
My father passed away very suddenly at the age of 68 from a heart attack, and heart disease runs in my family, so I am on a mission to raise awareness for people to take control of their heart health, to learn about their family history, and really just be grateful for every second they have with their loved ones.
That's wonderful. Do you have a website?
We do. It's heart.org.
Just heart.org.
Yeah, www.heart.org.
Being named the 2025 American Heart Association's Long Island of Impact means so much to me because I know just how critical awareness is and access to care truly is. So tonight, let's remember that even small steps in wellness can save lives. So let's keep the conversation going. Now about the American Heart Association. They first started their work in 1924. With now over 100 years of bold scientific discovery and innovation, it can be a challenge to fully understand the full impact of all that this truly remarkable organization does. But don't worry, because they have come up with an easy way for all of us to take it all in. We learn from childhood how our hearts are at the core of keeping our bodies healthy and going strong. So they've divided the vast reach of the American Heart Association into 4 chambers. Very clever. 4 chambers, just like in that hard-working heart that we all have beating away in our chest right now. The 4 chambers are equity, knowledge, discovery, and advocacy. And that will help us all better understand the American Heart Association's vision of bringing health and hope to everyone, everywhere. The American Heart Association's 4 chambers of impact help people around the nation, right here in the Hamptons and across Long Island. So we'd like to share some of those stories with you tonight. Let's take a look.
I was out swing dancing, which is one of my favorite things to do. I was in the middle of a dance with a really good friend of mine, and I remember looking at him saying, I feel dizzy, and next thing I remember is everything fading to black.
One of the patients who I was seeing, she came in one day with her grandson. Her grandson excitedly said, Dr. Wesson, I am so glad that my grandmother's in your study because I got to see an apple for the first time. He had seen pictures of an apple before, but had never seen an apple.
I was 37 and a half weeks pregnant, and I woke up at 5:30 a.m. to what felt like a ripping in my chest. My doctor came in and she held my hand, and she said, you're having an aortic dissection, and we're gonna care flight you to another hospital, and we're gonna do a C-section and an aortic replacement on the same table. We aren't sure if you and your son are both gonna come out of this. So you and your husband need to make a decision on who to save.
You know, I think it started from maybe an aha moment early in my career. I was seeing patients. If you do the math, how many people I can see in a day, multiply that times however long a career is, it's a lot of people. But one day someone found me from the American Heart Association and asked me to be involved in some advocacy efforts. And, you know, soon it was pretty apparent that by being involved in that way, I would save tens of thousands of more lives just in those 1 or 2 efforts than I would in my entire career.
Luckily, there were 3 nurses there who immediately rushed over, started performing CPR, and used an AED to shock me back to life. They found out that I had 4 blockages in my arteries, and 2 days later, I was scheduled for a quadruple bypass. The people who saved my life were trained by the American Heart Association.
It turns out my story started with my grandfather. In 1979, he died suddenly from what we assumed was a massive heart attack. And the autopsy revealed it wasn't. And then all of a sudden we had this big bad wolf that came after people in my family. He'd had an aortic dissection.
As a preventive cardiologist, I tell people to exercise. I tell them to eat better. But if you go home and you have no place to exercise, your environment's not safe, you have no walking paths, how are you going to do that? If I tell you to eat well and you're in a place where there's no access to food, these are just words if you don't have the means around it to do that.
For decades, I had been telling my patients from this community, mostly you should eat fresh fruits and vegetables. It's embarrassing for me to recognize they did not have access to it. The closest grocery store was at least 1 bus ride away.
We always thought it happened to men in my family, so it was a huge surprise when at the age of 38, my mom had an aortic dissection. I remember going to see her in the ICU after she survived, and I didn't understand that she was the first one to survive.
My goal is to make sure that my family is educated so that hopefully I'll be the last person to have a heart attack and nearly die. My father passed away at 42 of a heart attack. I had my heart attack at 42. My brother turns 42 next month.
I'm proud to say that my son started a market in this same community in a place where they could easily get to that would provide fresh fruits and vegetables at a price point that the community can afford.
Working with the American Heart Association, who went and testified to add a $1 tax to cigarette packs. By adding $1, they've modeled this, but how many tens of thousands of kids will never start smoking? We went from almost 50% of the population smoking, now we're down to 12%, 14%, something like that. Now that didn't happen by accident. That was a lot of that was advocacy.
In collaboration with the American Heart Association, support was provided for 50% off on the cost of the fresh fruits and vegetables that these residents were able to purchase. No bus ride needed. They could simply walk to the market, get the fresh fruits and vegetables, and incorporate them into their diet.
And I woke up in the cardiac ICU, and I knew Jeffrey had made it somewhere in my body. I knew my son had made it.
Today, I am back to running my business. I dance. I have lost 40 pounds because I eat a well-rounded, heart-healthy diet. My brother, he's lost 50 pounds. He works out every single day. And that's because he was equipped with the knowledge that I didn't have.
The American Heart Association gave a genetic researcher a pretty significant grant. And that research eventually led to me talking to her face to face, telling me we found the mutation in the gene that is causing aortic dissection. And I knew at that moment that I would be the last dissection in my family.
We could rework society via advocacy and many other ways where we could make an easy choice, the healthy choice. We would have a lot more health.
It is our job, not just only as health professionals, but as a society, to address health inequities. The goal is for every child to know not only what an apple looks like and what it tastes like, but he knows that this is a contributor to his health and will pursue those kinds of foods toward good health for the rest of his life.
Hopefully, with the help of the American Heart Association and the knowledge that I've gained, I can help others avoid going through what I went through and live a longer, happier, healthy life.
Jeffrey is 5 years old and he is sweet. He does have a 50-50 chance of having this, and we are getting him genetically tested soon, and then we'll know. I have a name, I have the weapons in my arsenal. I know how to defeat the big bad wolf before they even appear.
My name is Sherelle Weems, and to keep my family heart healthy, my chamber is knowledge.
My name is Dr. Donald Wesson, and to bring more healthy food to more people, my chamber is equity.
I'm Dr. Amit Kara. For my patients and for a healthier world, my chamber is advocacy.
My name is Meredith O'Neill, And because of American Heart Association funded research, my chamber is discovery.
Now I'd like you to meet some people who understand the impact that each of these 4 chambers can have right here in the Hamptons and across Long Island. Meredith Arm grew up thinking of the Hamptons as a place of beaches and luxury, but soon after moving to East Hampton and volunteering with Share the Harvest Farm, she saw the reality of food insecurity affecting so many of her neighbors. What started as helping at the farm stand turned into a passion. And now, as the executive director, she helps grow and donate thousands of pounds of fresh produce to local food pantries, senior centers, child care centers, and domestic violence shelters, feeding nearly 1,000 families each week. With support from the American Heart Association, Meredith and her team have been able to expand their reach and deepen their impact. Together, they're providing fresh, healthy food and sharing heart health education throughout our East End. For Meredith, this work goes beyond food. It's about dignity, fairness, and the belief that everyone deserves access to good health. Meredith Arm's chamber is equity. Through their generosity via the Jade Foundation, the Wassermans have helped the American Heart Association reach thousands of people across Long Island with life-saving CPR education. Their support has provided infant CPR kits to new parents, take-home kits for adults, and CPR in schools, training resources for students and educators. Their latest efforts were focused on expanding access to CPR training as part of the American Heart Association's Nation of Lifesavers initiative. They share in the mission to empower every member of the community with the skills to act in an emergency. Their commitment is helping to build a culture where life-saving knowledge is not a privilege, but a shared responsibility. More people. A native of Long Island, Dr. Hal Skopicki has dedicated his career to advancing cardiac health programs in the community that raised him. As chair of cardiology at Stony Brook Medicine, he brings deep clinical insight into the care of patients with complex heart conditions, always striving for better outcomes and more compassionate approaches. But discovery doesn't end in the lab or clinic. Through his work with the American Heart Association, Hal has shown how medical expertise can be a powerful tool for community change. By leading conversations that demystify heart health and empower people to act, he's helped shape a culture of awareness and prevention across Long Island and beyond. His journey is a reminder that discovery is not just about innovation in medicine. It's also about finding new ways to lead, to educate, and to inspire others to step forward. Because he continues to explore how knowledge can serve the greater good, Hal's chamber is discovery. Dr. Rajiv Johar is a leading cardiologist and chief of cardiology at North Shore University Hospital in Manhasset, and a tireless advocate for heart health equity. After losing his mother to heart disease, Rajiv turned his grief into action by founding the South Asian Impact Project to address the alarming rate of heart disease and stroke in the South Asian community. He personally secured funding, built a team of volunteers, and brought life-saving education and resources like AEDs to places of worship, agnostic to religion, community centers, and public events across Long Island. His work has empowered thousands with culturally tailored tools for prevention and wellness. Rajiv knows that advocacy is essential to closing health gaps, and that's why he has been such a powerful voice for the American Heart Association's mission at various levels. To honor his commitment to building healthier communities through education, outreach, and policy change, Rajiv's chamber is advocacy. And Rajiv represent the equity, knowledge, discovery, and advocacy that the American Heart Association cultivates here in the Hamptons, across Long Island, and nationwide. A healthy heart is essential for good health, we all know that, but the heart is only the beginning of what makes a fully healthy life. That's why when the four chambers impact, work together, we are able to build communities full of health and hope, where people from every walk of life can live longer, healthier lives. Your support of the American Heart Association makes it all happen. Let's hear it for our four local chambers.
I'm with Arpana Moorjani, and she has on the most beautiful red dress. It's really outstanding. I love your dress, Arpana.
Thank you so much, Helen. So this is a beautiful creation by a Romanian designer, Silvia Serbin, and this is her interpretation of a sari.
You were telling me that you're a content creator. So what kind of content do you have?
So yes, I'm a digital content creator. I talk fashion on Instagram. It's basically fashion content creation is what I do. And I share all my styling ideas and fashion creations on Instagram.
And what do you think of the American Heart Association?
Oh, it's a very, important cause. It's very close to my heart. My grandfather, who I was very close to, suffered from a heart problem for a very long time. So it's very personal to me to be here today and support the cause.
Yes. So, where can we follow you?
On Instagram. My Instagram is called Brag Your Style.
Right now I'm with Julie Chen, and she is here all the way from Los Angeles. How you doing, Julie?
I'm great. This is an amazing event. I love it here out in the Hamptons.
You do. Isn't it so beautiful?
So beautiful.
And such a worthy event, right?
Absolutely. American Heart Association is so important to me.
Yeah.
My father recently, a year ago, had to have 3 stents put in and is looking at another one right now.
Yeah.
You know, that's the trouble when you eat lots of French fries, potato chips, and ice cream as your main meal. My dad went right back to eating the potato chips and ice cream right after he came out of surgery, unfortunately. My daughters worry all the time. They tell him to please stop, and he says, well, I'd rather die happy.
Julie has moved to New York from LA, and she's starting her own podcast. You want to tell everybody about that?
Yes, it's called Midnight Snack with Julie Chan, and it started out actually as a talk show. I would interview Asian celebrities, authors, and comedians, and it was lots of fun, but I'm now moving it into a podcast because as you and I were talking, like interviews are great, but I have a lot of stories to share, and I really want to impart my experiences for listeners to see themselves in my stories and be impacted in a way that they see what's going on in their own lives.
So you'll let us know when you have that together.
I definitely will.
She took the helm of this year as part of the Hamptons campaign with a bold vision and turned it into a night to remember that we can all attest to. So let's give a warm welcome to the chair of the 2025 Heart of the Hamptons campaign, Jennifer Damico.
Good evening, everyone. It's what a privilege to welcome all of you to the 2025 Heart of the Hamptons Sand and Style Soiree. I'm Jennifer Damico, the Senior Vice President and Controller at Pfizer, and I'm incredibly proud to serve as this year's campaign chair. As we all know, the Hamptons are known for beauty, sophistication, and summer celebrations. But tonight, we are showing that this community is also a powerful force in the fight against heart disease. Together, we are standing up for something that truly matters, the health of our families, our friends, our neighbors, and future generations, right here in the Hamptons and across Long Island. This mission is especially close to my heart. Cardiovascular diseases touch both sides of my family, mine and my husband's. We've experienced firsthand the heartbreak of losing loved ones too early, and we have walked alongside others who are still fighting. It's a reminder that heart disease and stroke do not discriminate. They affect people of every background, every age, and every walk of life. And that is why I, and the work I do at Pfizer each and every day, is connected to the American Heart Association's mission, fighting heart disease and stroke so that people can live longer, healthier, and more meaningful lives. That's also why leading the campaign has meant more to me than I can express, because this fight is not only personable, but most importantly, it's winnable. We know the statistics. Heart disease is the #1 killer of both men and women in this country, and stroke is #5. But we also know that the power of people are what make the difference. People like all of you here tonight who show up, give generously, and take action. Tonight is about celebration, yes, but it's also about commitment. A commitment to change outcomes, to save lives, and to lead. Of course, none of this would be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. Their belief in this mission and in this community makes nights like this possible. Let's all join me in giving a heartfelt thank you to our sponsors and to the many who have come from significant distance to be here tonight. Mount Sinai, South Nassau. Stony Brook Medicine. Pfizer. And all of our other sponsors. We are also grateful for your generous contributions and collaboration. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize a truly dedicated group of individuals, many who I've worked for the past several months, the members of our Hamptons Executive Leadership Team. If you're part of the Executive Leadership Team, can you please stand? This event would not be the success it is without your leadership, energy, and passion. Thank you all for helping us drive this mission forward. I'd also like to take a moment to express my heartfelt thanks to my Pfizer colleagues, they're all sitting here over there, for joining us this evening. A special note of appreciation goes to Dave Denton, our Chief Financial Officer. And his wife, Nancy. As well as to Sally Sussman, our Chief Corporate Affairs Officer. And her wife, Robin. For their generous support of the American Heart Association and this important event. I'm also pleased to announce and pass the baton to next year's Heart of the Hamptons campaign co-chairs, my friend and colleague, Francesca DiMartino. Francesca is the Senior Vice President and Chief Investor Relations Officer at Pfizer. And joining her as co-chair is David DiMartino, same last name, yes, they're married, who is the Senior Vice President of Investor Relations at Zimmer Biomet. I'd like to ask them both to come up and join me on the stage. You didn't forget my shame. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And now as we begin this incredible evening together, we're honored to lead us. All of the three of us are honored to lead the great toast, which is proudly sponsored by Pfizer. Let's raise our glasses to the lives we've touched, the milestones we've reached, and the future we are fighting for. Here's to more hearts saved, more stories shared, and to Long Island leading the way. Cheers. Cheers.